Alright guys, we are back with some more MX versus ATV Legends. Today we are checking out multiplayer. Now, I haven't been in multiplayer since the game released. This was my first experience in the game, this part of the game. And I did 2 different sessions, and we had a bunch of good races, but the 3 races I have for you here were probably the best ones, right? So, this first race was pretty exciting for the most part. We had some good battling up front, and the second race is Detroit. That race, kind of funny. You'll see why when we get to that race. And the third race was probably my favorite, just because it was St. Louis, I believe. We ran super good laps there. Not the fastest, not probably the best lines around the track, but we were flying. I felt like we were actually flying. Now, there is some stuff I want to talk about for multiplayer. The reason it's a post commentary, if you guys enjoy the multiplayer stuff, let me know in the comments and we'll try to do more. And what I want to do is try to do some live commentary multiplayer, because I feel like it would just be more fun, probably more funny, you know, the way we react to whatever happens to us during the race. So yeah, let me know in the comments and we can go from there. But a few things I want to talk about besides just the race that's happening. We did use the 252 stroke, and I know everybody was saying the 252 stroke is the best bike in the game, and they're just dusting people in multiplayer. And it wasn't that I didn't believe it, but I felt like the 4-stroke was still better, and at worst, you know, comparable to the 2-stroke. And I still feel that way, but the 2-stroke, I think what makes the 2-stroke so good, and it probably has to do with the bike setup to some degree, is that I was able to corner the bike so much faster than the 4-stroke guys. Maybe the way he had his bike set up, it was all traction and he couldn't turn it very good, but the way we had our bike set up, we were just turning the corners way faster, way sharper, and I felt like that was a big place where we were making up time or putting time on them. And I mean, yeah, we were running pretty decent laps. I mean, we had some bad stuff happen to us, but he made a mistake there, and we get into the lead. He gives it away on the final lap with just about 2 corners left to go, and we end up getting him. And most of the races that happened, I actually had a ton of fun. I had way more fun in multiplayer in this game than I did in All Out. I mean, the first lobby we were in had 8, 9, 10 guys in it, and the second lobby had 5 or 6 or whatever, and then this is just some weird stuff that happens in multiplayer. We're all doing donuts here, but yeah, there's a few weird stuff that happens to us in multiplayer here, some chaos, I guess. But this is Detroit, and this was a good race. You'll see the final lap gets a bit crazy, but the 2-stroke, actually, I feel like in multiplayer, the way, because when I play by myself, I try to run decent laps. You don't have people bumping into you. You know, you have a clean track, right? And there isn't a consequence to messing up. You can just restart. But in multiplayer, you have other players on the track. You have a consequence of going down, which is a huge disadvantage, obviously, if the person out front doesn't go down, or ahead of you goes down or doesn't go down. So yeah, I mean, the lines you take in multiplayer for me at least, felt different than the ones I would normally take. You know, the 4-stroke, I can take my time, I can go outside, I can try and hit that big line that I'm not going for in multiplayer. In multiplayer, it's kind of nice to take the inside, clutch boost, turn down, get cornered as fast as you can, just to get going down the next straight or rhythm section or whatever. So the 2-stroke, definitely felt really, really good in multiplayer. And there was a few other really fast two-strokes that ended up showing up. So yeah, in my opinion, right now at least, the two-stroke probably is the best bike for multiplayer. I still think the four-stroke, the 450, is the best bike in the game. But for multiplayer, the two-stroke feels very good. And I know some people said that they felt like the two-stroke isn't the same since the update, but for me it felt the same. And the sound, in my opinion, is better. No, it isn't good or great, but it just had that ear-shattering sound to it sometimes when you rev it really high. So yeah, I mean, it's weird, but in my opinion, better than it was, right? So final lap here, it gets a bit crazy. The whoops for me are like my weakness. I have a big struggle with the whoops in this game. Sometimes I can get through them just right. Other times I feel like we're getting through them pretty good, and then we get off rhythm and go down. I am very bad at the whoops. I try to stand the rider up, lean him forward, and then lean back, and sometimes that happens. I love that the whoops are tough because I saw a bunch of other players going down in the whoops all by himself. You know, usually in these games, it's another player that punts you off the track or whatever, but actually it's the whoops that I saw as the reason most players were crashing and going down. So yeah, the whoops, we gave it away, kind of gave it away in that whoop section, but it was still a fun race, and I enjoy the races where you can't tell what's going to happen, right? So you couldn't tell until that. Now this is a bug. I don't know what happened. Have any of you experienced this? We had to share a gate. Me and this guy, we were sharing a gate. 2 bikes on 1 gate. I don't know why. It only happened one time. I did change my bike right before the race, and maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure, but yeah, it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, we didn't really hit each other. The way multiplayer works, you can, punt people over a berm, but you're actually kind of sticky. When people try to come in and slam into you, the bikes actually kind of get stuck together and it's not as easy, in milestone games you can really punt a player over a berm, but in this game you can do it, but you're kind of sticky, so it kind of prevents that. But yeah, interesting stuff. This is St. Louis, and this race, this guy behind us was pressuring us pretty hard for a good part of the race, but this race I felt good here. I felt like we were flowing pretty good. Yeah, we make some mistakes, but for the most part, we were hitting decent rhythms. Maybe not the biggest line every time, but I felt like we were going pretty fast here. I think we turn a 50-second lap time, 59. I don't remember. I don't know what's fast, but yeah, it was just a really good race, and I felt super smooth and pretty fast here. So definitely did enjoy this, and it was a decent battle for some of the race. But another thing I guess I want to talk about is that I wish they would add 2 things I want them to do. When you do go into multiplayer, you have your practice. You have like 2 minutes of practice, and the HUD isn't on the screen. So if I'm in manual, which is what I use, I can't see what gear I'm in. And you might say it's more realistic. I have the HUD on. If I wanted it to be that way, I would take my HUD off. That's not how I want to play. It's a video game. That's how I play it. So I could care less if it's more realistic or not. I want to see my HUD. I don't know why that's a thing. And then after the race, it just doesn't have a timer. It doesn't say anything. It just kind of acts like it's going to get stuck at the end results of the race. So I kind of want them to add a timer, something to show that, hey, you're still in the playlist, keep going. In 30 seconds, a minute, the next race will start. So just a few things I would like to see them add, but overall, multiplayer was a blast. I felt like a lot of the players, even the fast guys, were pretty similar in speed, and anybody could win. and I just had a good time. Some of the races we won by a mile, some we lost by a mile, but it was a really good time. I'm really enjoying the multiplayer. If you want to see more, make sure to let me know in the comments and leave a like on the video. Lets me know you want to see more. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.